So you want to try to reattract someone who you feel to be a dismissive avoidant. In the comments section, I see just a bunch of brutal comments about how you should never ever take back an avoidant, you should never try. In today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to address. I'm going to talk about whether or not you should try to reattract an avoidant. Thank you for sticking around. If this is your first time viewing me, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell so you're notified for all the newest coaching content. Before I get into the content, if you want my help personally, the quickest way to get into contact with me is through my website or through my Patreon or my YouTube membership. All those links are in the description below. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about whether or not you should even try to reattract an avoidant. And I wrote a quote about this and I posted on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, my handle is I am Coach Court. And the quote goes, "Mastering the ability to tell when something is real love and an insecure attachment will liberate you from wasted time and unnecessary suffering." And read that again. Mastering the ability to tell when something is real love and an insecure attachment will liberate you from wasted time and unnecessary suffering. So I broke this down into 3 positive, 3 negatives, all right? The very first one is if your anxiety ruined a relationship. All right. So if you didn't show up in a way that made them feel safe and made them feel comfortable to come to you on their own terms, then I understand that you just want to get back in the arena. You just want to get back in and show that you can do better. But you also have to be doing work yourself. You also have to be able to calm that anxiety yourself. You knew that you didn't show up or you didn't put your best foot forward. And your anxiety, I had a counselor tell me once, they said anxiety is like having a third person in a relationship. It's you, it's that other person, then it's that anxiety that just drives a wedge right in between you. So if you feel like that was the case for you, and you want to be able to show them that, hey, I can show up better. The second thing is they were fulfilling your needs. All right. So if they were showing up, if they were speaking your love language, if they were wanting a commitment, they were wanting to change their ways and the way that they operate in relationships, if they felt like they saw a future with you, you know, where they were, I don't know, you know, if you guys aren't familiar with 5 love languages, I have a video here on my channel that talks about that, breaks it down much more in depth. If they were doing something, going out of their way to meet those needs for you, and they weren't completely comfortable doing it, and you can tell that they were just doing it for you because they wanted to meet you where you were at, then that's one reason that I would say it's okay to try to reattract them, because they were showing up, they were doing the work. The third reason I would say is if you're married. These days, where divorce rates are at 51%, well, give or take, I think a lot of people aren't putting as much stock into marriage, and they're not taking it as serious as they used to. For me, I feel like it's important to have that foundation, that person that you can go to that you're gonna be able to bounce ideas off of. She's going to help push you to the next level, and vice versa. If you are trying to save the marriage, that's when I would say that it's okay to try to reattract that person, especially if you guys have kids, because marriage for me is a big thing, and that's the third reason that I feel like it's okay to try to go ahead and try to get that person back. Now on to the don'ts, the don't fly zone, the reasons why you should try to ever reattract and avoid it. Now, if all 3 of these happens, I would say never reach out to them again. All right. And the very first thing is if they still have one foot in the past, which means they're keeping the door open for their exes. And they still have them on social medias. They're still commenting. They're still laughing at each other's jokes. They're still getting text messages from them. If you ever discuss some type of displeasure about how they're still chummy with their exes and they're like, well, they're just friends. And that's just kind of a way for them to keep that wedge in between you guys where they're not completely committing to you, like completely giving all of themselves to you. And that's, for me, that's one of the big red flags. The second reason will be if they have admitted to you, whether early on or later on in the relationship, that they're still seeing other people, and that you should go ahead and still see other people. That there's like, okay, well, you're not putting a whole lot of stock into us because you're still trying to find a better option out there. And that's definitely an indication of someone who has either been scarred in the past, has made some type of huge bad decision with a person that they were dating, or they just don't trust their judgment in people, or it could be someone that has a little bit of narcissism in them, and where they have to have that validation, a bunch of different supplies in their life. So if that was something that was to happen, I would say don't even try to reattract that person. It's more like good riddance, because if a person a person should be putting you first. If you guys are in this type of committed relationship, and this is only if you're in a committed relationship and you guys had that discussion, because there are so many people who don't have that discussion and then months down the line something was to happen, it was to see them out with someone, or they was to get told by a friend that, hey, I saw so-and-so out on a date, and then you get frustrated. But if you guys haven't had that clarity, if you guys haven't had that mutual agreement that we're going to be exclusive only, then that's something that you want to be concerned about. And the third reason why you should never try to reattract them is if this person has showed you some unhealthy patterns. All right. Now, if you have seen some things from their past where they were used to being in like this 1.5-year relationship, 2-year relationship, and breaking it off, if they're at the age of 45 or something, and they have never had a real serious committed relationship, or they might have had that one relationship that was like 5-6 years off and on, but then they ended up like getting their heart broken and not completely healing from that person, aka the Phantom X phenomenon, then you don't want to put yourself back in that situation. Because that's someone that's going to have you're going to have a hard time getting them to completely commit to you, and it's going to be a uphill battle. And there's going to be some tough sledding. And if you're someone that's up for the challenge, which a lot of people aren't, especially if you're an anxious person, if you're someone that's up for the challenge, and I would say, hey, just be cautious. If no one has come along and been able to change who he was, or to get him to or her to take that next step in their development and in their commitment issues, then you're probably not going to be able to either. So if you see those patterns and they tell you stories about what happened in the past, you have to be able to make your decision based on that. And don't base it on like, all right, I'm going to give them a little bit more love and I'm going to show them how relationships should be, because I rarely see that work. So if you found this video of any value, please click this link right here where I talk about 5 signs that an avoidant cares. And if you want to follow me on my other social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, is I am Coach Court. And I want you guys to always remember, when you go be love, you'll never have to find it. Namaste.